It's like a car crash. I've heard it many times.
Yeah,
in
I've had it
crashes.
with a car crash.
It's never happened to me, such a word, thank God.
That's right, the last bit, before you actually get to the tree.
It all seems slow and you think, I know I'm going to crash, and you seem to clench your body just as you're going to crash. It's exactly the same with a shot. You can see the shot coming, and you know it's coming, and you know you're going to get hit. And you think, that's going to hit, and all of a sudden, bump, and it seems 10 minutes. So that's the strange thing. It seems like it's going forever, and you think, I should move. Why aren't you moving? All of a sudden...
I suppose Greenfield's theory can explain this too. His time slows down because the thought of the approaching blow creates such a huge party of neurons, a kind of Nuremberg rally that takes ages to disperse, whereas normally the brain hosts lots of small parties, more like Cynthia Payne. I like this explanation of consciousness. It seemed to me to answer all the problems, but apparently it doesn't satisfy philosopher Galen Strawson. Is that a definition, maybe, of philosophers? Them that are never satisfied. At the end of time, they'll still have a nickel.
Susan Greenfield seemed to think that we could explain consciousness by neurons, and the way that neurons would jump into different systems of connection with each other.
Yeah, I don't think I hold any view that's incompatible with what she thinks, because I agree with her that somehow or other consciousness is just a matter of whatever these waves of electrochemical activation sweeping across groups of neurons. But I don't think that explains consciousness. I mean, suppose you looked at a red wall, and we were scanning your brain at the same time, and afterwards we could say, here's the whole, maybe we could sort of rerun a picture of your brain in action. And we'd say, that was your scanning the red wall. It was these neurons doing that. So we can correlate sensory experiences, like seeing a red wall, with certain patterns of brain activation. We can get correlations, but correlations aren't explanations. And Susan Greenfield, more than once in her book, says that we haven't a clue why it is that neurons doing this is you're having the experiences you have when you look at a red wall. She thinks she knows what it is, what consciousness is in terms of neurons, but she doesn't know how consciousness arises.
That would be.
Yeah. There's a sense in which we haven't yet got an explanation at all, and it's not even clear where we would begin to look to find one. The difficult part of the problem of consciousness is not the higher cognitive human stuff, self-consciousness and the ability to do mathematics and things. The really difficult part comes right at the beginning, and it's sensory experience. So, dogs famously have an incredible sense of smell, and there's something it's like experientially for them to smell things. So the what it's likeness, the something it's like, or the feely.
Right. So maybe use the word consciousness to mean the what it's like.
I think that's the most common use nowadays. Yes.
I'm still not sure I've got my head round this what it's likeness business. Perhaps my cordless brain can help me run another thought experiment. Let's suppose I could disconnect my brain and hook it up to one of those kids. What would it be like to be 14 again?
Well, it's not exactly like I supposed it would be. My brain is connected to this boy, but I'm not experiencing the what it's likeness to be him, because I'm not inside his brain. I'm only experiencing the what it's likeness to be inside his body with my brain. I wonder what it's like to be a dog.
To me it feels like I'm the nasty force in the Evil Dead. But I doubt that's how dogs feel, otherwise it would be very bad news for the postman. My brain can't smell the things normal dogs can smell. I couldn't make any sense of that message. I think I'd better get reconnected to the old Campbell body before someone tampers with it. Yeah. You see, you can't actually find out what it's like to be like a dog. You can have a dog's eye view, but you can never get to the what it's likeness to be a dog. Yeah, well, you see, that's when you get back to the animals again, I think. It's the what it's likeness. I mean, the what it's likeness for you of being hurt, of experiencing pain, is likely to be different from the what it's likeness of pain for a newt.
Sure. But that's probably, I mean,
you know, the fact that the thing doesn't like it shows it's got some kind of what it's likeness.
Yeah.
And what it doesn't likeness.
Yeah, but I mean, then presumably, because newts have got different chemicals, they've got different what it's likeness. Yeah. But just saying, if a scientist says, oh, look, this chemical in the newt is newt experience, it doesn't give us a clue what it's like for the newt. If they said, oh, it's thalamamine rather than dopamine or something in the newt, it gives it a different experience. Would that give us any insight at all into what it's like to be a newt? It wouldn't. A physical explanation isn't enough because it doesn't bridge the link between the what it's likeness, the mental experience, and the chemical reaction.
Maybe if we took a bit of thalamine it would. So traditional science can't bridge the gap between the physical and the what it's likeness. It just can't explain how matter can have mental properties. Perhaps you have to go back to the ancient Greeks for an explanation. There's another doctrine, actually, called panpsychism, where everything's conscious, like a billiard ball, that's conscious, this goo's conscious, the rest is conscious, the table has got its own table. Oh, God, consciousness.
The doctrine of panpsychism reckons that there's something it's like to be everything, even a stone, however rudimentary it is.
Yes. I think I've found out what I am. I'm panpsychic.
Well, it's actually it's a serious candidate for the
problem. Every atom and every quark.
Well, yeah, exactly. The problem of consciousness is so difficult. The problem of consciousness is so difficult that panpsychism actually has to be one of the contenders. If it were true, it would seem to be able to provide an explanation of how consciousness can arise from the physical as we know it through physics. Because if consciousness is in there right at the start, right at the ground level, then perhaps we can see why a brain, which we think of as just a very complex physical thing, as being able to have complex conscious states, because consciousness was always there right from the start. So panpsychism has got a kind of a lead on all the other theories in terms of making it possible for us to understand how consciousness could be just physical. But unfortunately we have no reason to believe it to be true apart from that.
I don't know. I could see the appeal of panpsychism, but I wasn't about to become one of Pan's people. I couldn't believe that any old physical thing was conscious, although we all agreed my grey matter is. Even philosophers seem to accept that my mind is physical.
So I am just physical.
That's what I think.
And nothing more.
Yeah, nothing more, but nothing less either. I mean, part of the point of this is that the physical, if consciousness is physical, then the physical is a lot more than you thought it was. So what are you lacking? But what that means is that you're going to have to expand your idea of what the physical is enormously. Physics is more than just the matter of atoms bumping into each other. Or rather, it may be just a matter of atoms bumping into each other, but atoms bumping into each other produces or includes the phenomenon of consciousness. And everything that you hold dear.
So it's all physical. Everything mental is in fact physical, except there are some things you might say about that, but then that's all physical too. It's just maybe some sort of physical we don't know fully about yet. And my thought is this, I mean, my porridge in the morning, that's physical and chemical, but it doesn't really have any good thoughts. Whereas in there, that's physical, that's chemical, but it does think. I mean, I must have put its selves together really craftily. You know, there are people who think they can solve the mystery of consciousness by building a conscious robot. There's even someone who believes he is a robot. See me in America next week.